Okay, is the question of the day ready? Okay. How about Welcome back. Today on the show, we talk more about a learning disorder that leaves many with reading challenges. One really does have a problem identifying speech sounds and decoding them. It's called dyslexia. Why should we care? Because it's more common than we think. People living with dyslexia can go for years without being able to recognize their challenges, and as an adult rather, it's very possible to have trouble reading and spelling. So let's talk about how you can identify the signs in your children at an early stage and the kind of techniques and tools that are used to help people living with dyslexia cope. Most importantly, how can we go about supporting them? Welcome to Health and Wellness right here on K24. My name is Shiko Kaitani. I'm going to start off by introducing Nancy Muringo Muni. She is a special needs teacher and reading specialist. She also happens to be the director of Dyslexia Organization Kenya, the principal of Rare Gem Talent School, and most importantly, a mother of a son with dyslexia. Karibu sana to the show.
Thank you very much.
Also, George Ndagu, who continues to create awareness on dyslexia, is here with us, a true champ, sharing his story as to what it's like. You probably have seen his story a few times. George is a talented photographer and designer and a dyslexia champion. Welcome to the show, George.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us, lady and gent. And something that is rarely ever discussed, but here we are, we're in the month of October. This is the awareness month for dyslexia. And let me start off with you, Nancy, about describing a person with dyslexia.
Well, a person with dyslexia, it's not seen like you can see George here with us.
Yeah.
You don't recognize by just looking at the person. The person is mainly discovered in class.
Yeah.
Like, because that is where learning is, it's taught. And this person does not just get learning like the other students they do. It's not so smooth like it is with other students.
Yeah.
And it apparently is not their choice. It's something that is within. Most likely sometimes dyslexia is inherited.
Yeah.
So it's not something that the child chooses to have. Yeah, so
Okay.
it is discovered in class. Though a keen parent may start seeing some signs there and here.
Yeah.
To tell that maybe this child when it goes to school will have problem.
Okay, and let's even just get this straight, because some people will think that this is a medical condition, which it's not.
Yeah, dyslexia is not a medical condition.
Okay.
So it's not something that you can take a person to hospital and
Yeah.
think that he's going to get some medicine and it's going to be over. No. And once dyslexic, you are always dyslexic.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. George, how did you find out, or how were you diagnosed with dyslexia? Was it something when you were much younger, or did it, creep up when you were much older?
Actually, funny thing is, no one knew
Yeah.
was dyslexic back then. So it was actually challenging. So I was
Yeah.
in school, straight from pre-unit to class 1 and
Yeah.
class 2. People used to downsize me, especially teachers. Used to call me names like, this guy is lazy. He cannot read or write or spell.
Yeah, and they were thinking it was you being stubborn.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the only way as a teacher,
Yeah.
I think is the punishment is to beat the kid. And I used to get beaten every day.
Oh, no.
I never used to understand why.
Yeah.
But I kind of accepted it. It was like a normal thing. And until a teacher actually brainwash you at some point, everything you do is wrong. And you'll grow with the same mentality when you grow up.
Right.
So yeah.
That is quite unfortunate. And even as a teacher, do you see now where teachers probably get it wrong, or tutors at this particular point? Because listen to George's story. He was being told he's the problem, he's stubborn, huyu hataki kusoma, and the punishment was just being beaten.
Yeah, and it's so common that people or children with dyslexia, they suffer in the hearts of the people who are supposed to give them care.
Right.
Like in the parents' hands, the parents is expecting this child to just read because you look good, you're doing your things well.
Yeah.
So they expect that you're going to get results, academic results very well. So if you do not get that, they feel like you are not doing anything good.
Right.
Like they start even seeing that what you are doing in your hands or what you are doing with other things apart from learning, they start questioning, has that been done by this person? Because you see, after you bring the result, they don't just now believe in you anymore. Yeah. And in school, this the children are beaten more because like a teacher's expectation is that after I taught you reading, or I have taught you, you need to get what I've taught you. And if you don't get it, so you can imagine during that time, maybe George was in school where the mean score was usually covered with a number of canes. Like the teacher was like, my mean score is...
Yes, we did go through that a lot.
Yeah, that I want the mean score should be 60.
Yes.
And if you don't get 60, you get 30. The difference will be covered by the canes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it usually happens that.
And you know, that
and
point,
especially with people with dyslexia.
Yeah, that point really does bring us to our question of the day. And I want to share this with you because we need to understand, how can our education system really go about attending or being more inclusive to people with learning disorders? Here's the question of the day. And we ask, how best can our education system include children with learning disorders like dyslexia? Remember, at K24 TV is how you can reach us. And that WhatsApp number is at the bottom of your screen. Should you want to also call in, share your experiences, or if you've got a loved one who is also with this particular learning disorder, how have you managed and helped them cope as well? We'd love to hear from you. George, for you, how did that really make you feel growing up? Hearing such words that, oh, you are lazy, that you cannot amount to anything, you know, even as you get older, you're just going to be a failure in life.
Funny thing, actually, you got some point.
Yeah.
You feel actually it's true. You actually been, again, I repeat, brainwashed.
Yeah.
And every day you get to school, remember, it's like the years and years.
Yeah.
You get beaten, and in some point you get so tired, and the teacher shows you an example of the students, tell them, this kid is just dumb, you can't help him. And other students adapt that.
Yeah.
So let's say, give you an example. After school ends, like maybe break time.
Yeah.
Now the kids will start teasing you. Because the kids will not understand because they're following the teacher, what they're doing. And I got some point, I got used to it, and I found a way to escape that loophole.
Yeah.
So I remember I saw some 78 kids hanging out, and I thought, what if I keep one of them as a friend?
Yeah.
So what I used to do is I used to have a nice break lunch, break time food.
To entice them to come over, yeah.
And remember, I had the severe dyslexia. I couldn't talk really well.
Okay.
At all. So I used to just give him a quick cake as appreciation. Like just saying hello. So every day I used to do that. So the time as the kids are kind of bullying me, the older kids comes and help me out.
Protects you.
Exactly.
So you won your loyalty. You bought your loyalty through lunch.
Exactly.
He mentioned something very interesting, and that's really looking at the signs and the symptoms of what dyslexia is. He said that he had a severe case of it, that he couldn't even talk.
Yeah, that is one main sign or signal from a parent. Like if a parent sees the child maybe have delayed speech, though delayed speech is an underlying of so many other difficulties, but dyslexia being one of them, you need to have your antennas up, like your child has gone through, like has not spoken, just like the other kids. Like at 2 years, if the child is not speaking, then that is something to worry about. Yeah, that is one major signal that that a child could be having dyslexia. Other signs are like the child is having trouble knowing the right and left, like and that is usually shown by how he is dressing his shoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like you see, when you keep on telling the child, how did you put on his shoes? That is another signal.
Yeah, they call it what, chikoleko.
Something like that. Yeah, that is another sign because that child shows that doesn't really know which the side of left and the right.
Very
Speech,
interesting.
dressing,
And
even also speaking, like when sometimes they have reversals.
Right.
Like in most of the words, like you hear a child saying Samilia instead of Salimia. You know, those are some of the tips that you need to pick before the child goes to school, but it will be confirmed at school.
What do you think about the whole delay in taking your child to school? So there's delayed learning in a lot of homes whereby perhaps maybe they will take their child to school at the age of 4. You know, and people will probably mistake that for a child having a learning disorder and say, oh no, this child is a little bit slow, but does that contribute to it?
I don't think it does contribute at all.
Your child should still be able to pick up things even if they've not gone to school.
Actually, I have, from experience, I've seen children even who join school when they're 7 years, they have not been in school before, but since they don't have this thing in them, they will start catching up learning. So it is something that is within, not without.
Okay. George, so now we are at the point, let's fast forward at where you were able to diagnose this, or at least your parents now stepped in and said, no, there has to be something more.
Well, actually, to get there, I started actually running away from school. Because, you know, you get some point tired of the system. So I used to look at some kids, okay, guys are refusing to get to classes because of a tie. What I used to do is remove my tie and put it on the pocket. My teacher tells me, go back home. And I used to do that every day, and that's like running away. So at some point, my parents got fed up and said, you know what, I need to find a solution. And my parents found a person told me, you have a gathering in, I can't remember which hotel, you can attend for dyslexia. And we didn't know what's dyslexia at that time. We went there, we sat down, we saw the class. It was a fully packed conference until parents were sitting down on the floor listening to somebody talking. And that's the time our journey started. I know before the journey started, I met so many doctors before that, from the eye doctor, from doctors themselves, from shrinks. Also, I've been brain scanned to find the solution. Imagine this, a parent can be so, how do you say? Caught up and they can do anything as possible to find a solution. They'll go up to the space to the earth to make sure what's wrong with my child, to find out.
And I would have to say George's parents are unique. They are those who have dismissed this as a child, again, who is just being rebellious.
Being a teacher, Shiko, I have seen quite a lot where parents come and tell me, this child needs to be beaten. He's refusing to learn, he needs to be beaten, and if he's beaten, he will wake up. Just like George has said, a child with dyslexia will have problem doing homework. And in class situation, it's like you also having problem finishing the classwork, even transferring the work from the blackboard to the book. Like, you know, the situation or the way we learn here, you just, maybe the teacher leaves so much notes on the blackboard and you are required to transfer them to the book, and the child is not able to do that. So, and now this is teacher who has left the class, another one is coming in. And the child has not finished yet. So this child is denied time to go and play because you are required to sit down in class during break time to finish the work that you didn't finish. And even in the morning, you are supposed to wake up so early, maybe George can testify that, to finish the homework that you didn't finish last night.
So you're bombarding this child with even more.
With so much time. And even in the evening, maybe the parents, if they are able, they bring in another teacher to come and teach this child. So you see, the child does not have time to be a child because he doesn't have time to play. And also, a child with dyslexia requires to have other talents nurtured, like George has done. So this learning, it's just like covering everything the child can be able to do. So even in time of searching or nurturing his talents is not there. Yeah.
Let's rope in our audience at this particular time. Remember, we do have our question of the day, which is all about how our education system can better include, children with learning disorders like dyslexia. And I'll ask my director to let me know if we've got any text messages already in. And of course, if there are any phone calls that will be streaming in, do let us know. Of course, we'd love to hear your voice throughout the show. George, someone is probably looking at you and thinking, okay, if my child has this particular learning disorder, they can't live a full and exciting life ahead of them. They cannot even have a fulfilled type of life. Why don't you counter that for us by sharing your story and what you've managed to achieve so far?
Well, actually, the best, let me start here.
Yeah.
Being dyslexic is not a condition. Actually, it's the best thing a kid can get sometimes because they're quite creative people.
Yes.
And also they think out of the box. From that experience, I had opportunities to start my own clothing line when I was 16.
Yeah.
My first time. And I remember I got my first 30,000 from that small booth I had.
Nice,
and it kind of pushed me.
Yeah.
From that, I went to photography and learned a bit of photography, but also I had some challenges from that.
Yeah.
I met one teacher in college.
Yeah.
He did not want me to record my lessons. The first thing he told me, I think you're going to sell this in the streets.
Right. So he wants you to write it.
He wants me to write it.
Yeah.
But I overcome that. And from that, I started my own business.
Yeah.
Photography. Grew a bit, opened another third company. It was called Brand Shack. And it was a learning curve, what I'm doing right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And how has the learning disorder, though, limited the much you can do? Would you feel that way? And does that mean that there are only specific career types that people with such a learning disorder can get into?
Actually, remember, dyslexia is actually slightly different, the different levels.
Yeah.
So dyslexia, actually, you can do anything. It just depends what you can do.
Right.
For me, I had the severe one. I can't read and write and talk.
Yeah.
So I had to be trained from get-go. But also, I had to touch myself to talk.
Yeah.
As a career-wise, you can do anything, basically, as you're dyslexic. Yeah.
What would you say, in your opinion, Nancy, would be the long-term effects of this disorder going undiagnosed? There are those who, even in their adult years, still don't know that this is probably dyslexia.
Well, early identification is very, very important.
Yeah.
Because even when you are bringing some support in class, you can't just support blindly.
Yeah.
You need to know that this person has this condition so that you can plan about the support that you are going to give.
Yeah.
And parent support is very, very important. Like George has said, parent support is very, very important.
Right.
And even most of the successful dyslexic people, they give credit to their parents because they identify them and they give them support. So if a person is undiagnosed, sometimes we have people whose self-esteem is very low.
Yeah.
And when your self-esteem is low, you cannot even think out of the box.
Right.
You concentrating on so much that I can't do. I have been told you are brainwashed to think that there is nothing good you can do. So it will have effect even in adulthood.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking that people, you have to prove to people that I am thinking I can do this. And then when you're thinking that you can do this, you're also thinking I was told that I can't do.
When the truth is we are all abled differently, by the way. Yeah, it's very, very true, yeah.
So that's the effect that we have in adulthood, and people will not try to try their best because they have already an inside belief that they can't try.
George, do you see a lot of that, especially with other people who are living with dyslexia, feeling like they just can't get out of this box?
And I'll give you an example. If I go somewhere in a group, I will freeze for a minute because I'm trying to process what they're talking about because I'm a visual thinker.
Yeah.
So if somebody reads in a newspaper and they're talking about something, my mind will be like Google, looking for it, but I can't. But I found a system I can actually work around that. So if I can get something similar to that, I will go around the conversation and talk something similar to
Right.
Right.
So your socially, or like your social life has been somewhat, well, let me not say affected, but can you say it's different?
that. It's a bit different.
Right.
And one more thing, as a dyslexic person, I can say you will kind of lose your privacy, to be honest. Because as a child, you will, when you get to older, like maybe 17, 18,
Yeah.
you will need your assistant to type,
Yeah.
text. I remember at some point I had my brother, I told him, hey, I got a text from a friend. He read for me, I'm like, boss, who is this?
Yeah, because you've got to share now.
Exactly,
Yeah, so they
yeah.
know everything.
But I told him, he said, hey, no.
Yeah.
Okay. He had to chat for me back.
Oh,
And I'm like,
really?
and of what? He asked me, this is your girlfriend? I said, I'm not sure yet.
We'll know in just a few.
Yes.
But I really want to talk to you a little bit about that, about your coping skills today and how you go about managing running a business and doing everything that you do. Isn't that quite interesting, understanding how George does operate, even living with dyslexia? Something very interesting that Nancy has brought up is that a lot of parents will obviously say, or at least summarize this as a child just simply being rebellious. But the question is, have you also taken time to try and study and see if your child is able to read and write? That's also another thing we need to be talking about after the break. But let's sample some of your text messages as far as this conversation is concerned. We asked you the question, how can our education system include children with learning disorders like dyslexia? All right, someone says here, great topic there about students with special needs. I am a teacher and I have 3 such cases. I have written several letters to the education officers to have the kids placed in the right institutions, but the parents and the ministry won't take it. With 100% transition, I'm just advised to accommodate them, and it's so frustrating to the learner who cannot even write their own name. It is also dangerous when it comes to lab work because they can mix anything. Parents also do not like their kids in special institutions. Quite sad. Thank you so much, Jane, a teacher in Nakuru, sharing her story and her experience with us. Hi, Shiko. I have a young brother, 5 years, who has problems in school like that has little energy on his hands. Like writing for him is kind of hard. Does it have something to do with dyslexia? Okay, Nancy, keep that in mind. Also, we've got Hello K24. I actually relate to George. The similar cases he went through in school, I did too. Actually, till today, I still have the worst handwriting, full of spelling mistakes you can ever find, however much I try. Thank you so much. It's never too late. All right, so we've taken down some of the points that have come through our text messages. We'll be tackling those in just a moment, but don't go away. We're learning more about dyslexia. Of course, October being the month that we mark World Dyslexia Awareness Day. And so keep your questions coming, as well as your comments and even words of encouragement to individuals like George. Stick with us.